What's going on, guys? My name is Ted Carr. Welcome to my channel here on YouTube. This video is all about helping you transition to eating a healthier, cleaner diet. This video is for people who eat pretty much anything but are conscious about what they're eating and they want to improve what they're eating. So in this video, we're going to go through the top 5 deadliest foods, the top 5 foods that you want to avoid if you want to truly be healthy. So if you want to feel as amazing as you were designed to feel on this planet Earth, then you want to avoid these 5 foods. I swear to God, when you cut out these 5 foods and replace them with the alternatives that I provide you with, you're going to be flying, you're going to feel amazing. And if you've already cut out these 5 foods, then maybe you want to share this knowledge. Maybe you want to share this video. Maybe next time you see someone eating one of these 5 foods, you can point them to an alternative. So let's get right into this right here. First food you really want to avoid are all dairy products. Dairy products include foods like butter, ice cream, whey protein, milk and milk products, and cheese. Dairy is really nothing but pus-filled, lactose-infused, hormone-altering titty juice. That's all it is. It's the tit juice from another animal that you were never designed to eat. Never in nature, never in nature would you walk up to a herd of cows or a herd of buffalo or a herd of goats and just walk into their herd and suck on their titties. And if you don't believe me that we're not designed to consume dairy, please try and experiment. Go out and consume a 4-liter carton of milk and watch how your body pukes. There are countless videos on YouTube of this. There are hundreds, there are thousands of videos on YouTube of people drinking 4 liters of milk and having their body puke it up. The body rejects it. The body does not want it. As soon as I cut out dairy from my diet, my acne cleared up so much. My acne cleared up so much as soon as I cut out dairy. That was like one of the biggest triggering mechanisms behind my acne. As soon as I cut out dairy, my acne went away. As soon as my sister cut out acne, her ear pain went away. All her mucus went away. As soon as my other friend cut out acne, his asthma went away. When people cut out dairy, their life instantly improves. Dairy sucks. Check out milksucks.com. So what are some alternatives to drinking milk? What are some alternatives to consuming milk products? Where are we supposed to get our calcium from? Well, it turns out, my friends, that you can get all of your calcium in an alkaline form from plant foods. That's right. You don't need to consume acidic milk, which actually robs calcium from your body. You can get your calcium from alkaline forming foods, such as plant foods. So, plant foods such as almond milk, hemp milk, coconut milk, soy milk, and my personal favorite, banana milk. That's right, you just blend up some bananas with a whole bunch of water and it turns it into this nice creamy banana milk substance. It tastes so good. I love banana milk. And if you want to replace the cheese, you can have something like Daiya cheese. And if you want to replace butter, you don't need to go with margarine. You can consume things like almond butter, cashew butter, peanut butter, walnut butter. There are so many beautiful nut butters. Even tahini, man, even tahini is a dairy-free replacement for butter. And if you really love ice cream, have some nice cream, banana nice cream. It's amazing. It tastes so good. Nobody knows that it's just bananas either. But what you do is you freeze some bananas, and then when it's time to make the ice cream, you blend the bananas. Just blend them. You don't need to add any water. Just blend them as they are. Frozen bananas, blended, turn into nice cream. So delicious. And the benefits of eating non-dairy alternatives? Well, there's plenty. First off, you're not going to get any acne. You're not going to have as much mucus. You're not going to have asthma. You're not going to put your body at risk for getting heart attacks, diabetes, or cancer. And you're not going to be needlessly hurting any animals. It feels so good to go to bed guilt-free, I promise. So focus on these plant food alternatives. You're going to love your life as soon as you do. Next up on the list, we got fried foods. And everyone thinks fried foods are bad, but a lot of people just don't think they're bad enough, so they still consume fried foods. My favorite alternatives to fried foods are fresh raw living foods. Fried foods are insanely toxic. Fried foods kill people. Fried foods are almost just as, if not more, deadly than smoking cigarettes. That's right, fried foods have something called acrylamide in them, and acrylamide is just as toxic for your body as smoking cigarettes. Consuming fried foods is like consuming a straight up neurotoxin. Why would you do it? It's not good for your brain. It's a high likelihood that it's going to cause something like Alzheimer's. It's a high likelihood it's going to start effing with your memory, and you're going to start forgetting things far sooner than you would have if you avoided fried foods altogether. Fried foods also insanely lower your immune system. If you want to get sick more often, consume fried foods. If you never want to get sick ever, avoid fried foods. It just makes sense to avoid fried foods at all costs. And they also spike your blood sugar. Oftentimes fried foods is mixed between oil and carbohydrates. When you mix oil and carbohydrates, what happens? Your blood sugar spikes through the roof. How does that work? Well, all the oil from the fatty foods goes in, coats your cells, and then the sugar from the carbohydrates, they can't enter the cell because it's covered in oil, and the oil takes so long to digest. And meanwhile, the sugar is building up in your blood system, blood sugar rises, and you're feeling that, and you're going up and up and up, and then finally the fat gets metabolized, and then the sugar rushes into the cell finally, and it sucks, man. Your blood sugar just plummets. First it rises, then it plummets. Fried foods F with your mood big time. If you want to have a steady, stable mood, keep your blood sugar nice and steady. And you can't keep your blood sugar nice and steady, you can't have a great mood if you're consuming fried foods. So if you want people to like you more, if you don't want to have these big mood dips where people like don't like to be around you and you don't like to be around other people, avoid fried foods. Things like fried chicken and fried fish and fried vegetables and fried plantains, fried Twinkies and fried chocolate bars, things like that. Most people aren't going to be consuming the fried Twinkies and chocolate bars. Most people are going to be consuming things like the fried veggies and the fried chips and the fried fish and things like that. But you really don't need to consume those things. You don't even need to consume fried plantains. My favorite alternatives to fried foods are fresh raw living foods. I love to consume salads instead, and instead of consuming fried plantains, I'll just wait until the plantain is fully ripe and consume that as nature would have intended me to do. But if you want to fry up some veggies, don't fry them up just yet. Try boiling them or steaming them. If you really hate boiled or steamed vegetables, give them another go. Try a different recipe with boiled or steamed veggies. They're gonna be way, way better for you than the fried foods. But if you still can't get your head around that and you wanna fry your veggies up on the pan, use coconut oil. Coconut oil is the only oil that does not turn into a carcinogen when it's cooked. And it doesn't make your veggies taste like coconut oil, I promise. When I was transitioning from a standard diet to a vegan diet, I was using a lot of coconut oil, frying up some veggies, and it tasted delicious, and it did not make my veggies taste like coconut oil at all. The flavor doesn't transmit when you're cooking it onto the veggies. And the benefits of eating non-fried vegetables, the benefits of eating boiled and steamed vegetables rather than fried, is that they're gonna digest better and they're gonna make you feel better. You're not gonna feel like SHIT afterwards. Keep that in mind, guys. Food equals mood. When eating higher vibrational foods, when eating higher quality foods, you're gonna be experiencing higher quality moods. Avoid the fried stuff, bring in the fresh raw living stuff, and if you're not into the whole fresh raw living food scene entirely 100%, no worries, have some boiled or steamed stuff. And if you really have to fry it, have it fried with coconut oil, nothing else. Number 3 on this list of the top 5 foods to avoid, eggs. So what are the alternatives? Ted, what am I supposed to eat if I'm not consuming chicken excretions? Well, I've got news for you, man. You can have vegan alternative eggs. You've got to avoid eggs. What is the recommended daily dose for cholesterol? 300 milligrams. 300 milligrams tops. That's what the government recommends, and the government is probably obese themselves. What do you get from just 2 eggs? 370 milligrams. That's right, you're getting over the recommended daily dose of cholesterol just by having 2 eggs. That means if you have 2 eggs, you can't have any other animal products all day long, because every other animal product contains sizable amounts of cholesterol. So if you have just 2 eggs, you've got to avoid cholesterol for the rest of the day. Plus, if you have just 2 eggs, you're consuming more than the government's recommended daily dose for cholesterol. What are the risks if you're having too much cholesterol? Well, let's take a look at the facts. Heart attack. Number 1 leading cause of heart attack, too much cholesterol. Why would you want to die like the masses? Why would you want to go out at age 40? Why would you want to die at age 50? Why would you want to be driving your car, get a heart attack, and die at age 60 or even 30, man? I know people in their mid-30s getting heart attacks. Way too much cholesterol, way too much stress. What causes stress? Shitty food. Remember, lower vibrational foods equal lower vibrational moods. When you're experiencing a really low mood, your body's stressed, and when you're really stressed and you've got too much cholesterol in your system, high likelihood for heart attack, man. High likelihood for cardiac arrest. That is the top 3 leading causes of death. And what are the top 3 leading causes of death? Heart attack, cancer, diabetes. If you want to avoid all that stuff and make it through life totally fine, avoid eggs. Eggs are like the number 1 thing that most people are consuming, and eggs are the number 1 thing that most people die from heart attacks from. So what are the alternatives? Ted, what am I supposed to eat if I'm not consuming chicken excretions? Well, I've got news for you, man. You can have vegan alternative eggs. That's right, you can get tofu scrambles. You can use unripe bananas if you want to cook up some eggs. Or you can use my 2 favorite alternatives to eggs, and that is egg fruits and avocados. Some avocados taste like eggs. They are so good. And if you've never had an egg fruit, you've got to try it. They are divine. Definitely check out a canistelle fruit or an egg fruit. Different name, same fruit. Definitely check it out. Those are the 2 best alternatives to eggs. But seriously, if you want to cook something up, instead of using eggs, like muffins or pancakes, use slightly underripe bananas. This is what I did when I was transitioning from a standard North American diet to my vegan diet. I used underripe bananas and I cooked things and they tasted so good. I went around sharing them with everyone. I'm like, oh, this is great. Where's the recipe? Gave them the recipe. They're like, underripe bananas? And I'm like, yeah, notice how there's no eggs on there? They're like, oh yeah, wow. So I'm getting other people into this as well. You can do the same. And another thing about eggs, if you haven't noticed, is that they're not satisfying at all. That's why in that movie, I forget what it's called, I think it's called Cool Hand Luke, Paul Newman, the actor, consumes like 50 hard-boiled eggs. And I remember when I was transitioning from whatever a standard North American diet to like a somewhat conscious North American diet when I first became aware of protein and all this stuff, I was consuming so many eggs for the protein, right? Well, little did I know is I'd consume like 17 to 20 eggs in a day. I'd just consume the whole frickin' carton of it and I'd go get more cartons. I was consuming 17 to 20 eggs a day and I was never satisfied. I'd make these boiled eggs and hard boiled eggs and fried eggs and omelets, but it just wouldn't end my hunger. It just wouldn't shut my hunger off. I was gaining weight, sure, because all those extra calories, all that cholesterol, it makes you gain weight, makes you get fat, puts you at risk for a heart attack, but I didn't care. I just kept eating. They don't satisfy you, so it's so easy to gain weight on them. And they never shut off what you started eating for. You started eating because you're hungry, but they never shut off that hunger. An alternative to eating eggs, like those foods I listed you, the unripe banana, or the avocado, or the egg fruit, or even the tofu scramble, those foods actually satisfy you. Those foods actually shut off your hunger. When you consume fruit, when you consume egg fruit or avocado, you're gonna have your hunger shut off. What did I have for dinner last night? I had some guacamole with some lettuce. All those avocados with that lettuce, man, my hunger was off. Real food shuts off the hunger. And when you shut off your hunger, you can get by with eating less. So when you eat less, you're gonna be able to maintain a proper body weight all year long with much more ease. Coming in at number 4 on the top 5 foods to avoid list, we have fish. Eat these alternatives: dulse, kelp, nori, and vegan fish sauce. You've got to avoid fish. You've got to avoid tuna. You've got to avoid salmon. You've got to avoid shark. You've got to avoid halibut. You've got to avoid cod, cod liver oil. All fish products you've got to avoid. You've got to do it. Why? The mercury, the other oceanic toxins, the cholesterol, and the inflammatory omega-6s. Not to mention all the other heavy metals in there aside from mercury, which also cause brain damage. Why would people want to be consuming a food that causes brain damage? It's directly linked to brain damage. Don't eat fish if you want a healthy brain. If you want a healthy brain, eat these alternatives: dulse, kelp, nori, and vegan fish sauce. That's right, guys, there is vegan fish sauce out there. You no longer need to be consuming brain damaging fish to get your fish sauce in there. And you can take any plant food and drizzle some vegan fish sauce on there and it will taste just as good, if not better, than it would if you were consuming brain damaging fish. You can sprinkle your vegan fish sauce or your dulse or your kelp or your nori on things like eggplant or things like mushrooms or things like tofu. There's so many alternatives to fish, man. You don't need to consume fish anymore. Plus, at the extinction rate that fishes are going right now, why would you want to be a part of that? Why would you want to look back at 2016 and say, yes, I contributed to the diminishing fish population. Yes, I contributed to fish going extinct. I want to stand on the opposing side. I want to say I stood for something. I saw that the fish population was going down. I said I'm no longer going to be a part of that. I cannot contribute to that. I will not contribute to that. In fact, I will promote the opposite. I will promote fresh, raw living foods. I will promote veganism, because consuming fish products just makes the extinction go faster. And I'm not sure if people understand what extinction means. Extinction means that there is a finite amount of fish in the ocean. Yes, they may keep growing, but we're pulling them out at a far larger rate than fish are repopulating at. We're taking way more fish out of the ocean at a faster rate than the fish are able to repopulate at. So it doesn't make any sense, especially on paper, to be consuming fish. Not just for the mathematical, logistical, practical reasons of not having any fish left over in the ocean after a few years, but just for the reason that it's not healthy. It causes brain damage. Eating fish is directly linked to brain damage, so be sure to consume these alternatives. And the reason I gave you these alternatives, things like dulse and kelp and nori, is because these all contain a lot of minerals from the ocean. So if you're afraid that you're not going to get minerals from the ocean, like iodine or something, and you need to get it from fish, don't worry, you can get it from these plant foods. And if you're worried about the omegas, the omega-3s, you can get omega-3s from all fruits. If you eat a diet high in mangoes, for example, just eat a bunch of mangoes, your omega-3s are going to be through the roof. You don't need to worry about omega-6s either, because whenever you're consuming omega-3s, you're getting a proper ratio of omega-6s as well. But if you're consuming just fish, you're getting way too many omega-6s. So avoid fish, eat these plant-based alternatives. The plant-based alternatives I gave you have no mercury in them, have no cholesterol in them, and they're actually delicious and they're healthy for you. If you eat them, you will be a healthier person. The 5th food that you want to avoid on this top 5 list of foods to avoid, well, what do you think it is? Animals. There are so many alternatives to eating animals. Why would you eat animals in 2016, in 2017, in 2018, 2019, 2020? Why would you eat animals? I understand eating animals, you know, a few hundred years ago when that's all you could get or you absolutely needed to get it. Or I understand eating animals if you're in some certain tribe, or if you're in Alaska, or if you're, you know, living in an igloo or something and you just need those calorie source. But nowadays, in America, in Canada, in Europe, in Egypt even, you don't need to consume animal products. There are so many fruits and vegetables alternatives. There's so many vegan alternatives. There are so many plant-based alternatives. Why would you consume a dead animal? Why would you consume something that is a class one carcinogen. That's right. Known to cause cancer by the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization is saying don't eat animals because they are a carcinogen. Even the Chinese government is saying, hey man, we gotta stop eating animals. Not just because it's super unhealthy, but because we can't sustain it. It's entirely unsustainable. We are using resources to grow animals to then feed a fat few people when we could just be growing food and feeding that food to the world. When you're consuming animals, what you're saying is that I want to grow all this food, give it to a few animals, and then give those few animals to even fewer people to eat. When you could be saying, hey, I want to grow all this food and feed this food to the world. It makes way more sense to just grow food and feed it to the world rather than growing food and feeding to animals and feeding those deadly animals to people who are going to die really soon from heart attack, diabetes, and cancer. Because eating animal products causes diabetes, it causes cancer, it causes heart attacks. Leading causes of all these top 3 deaths, animal product consumption. So if you don't consume animals, there's like a 99% chance, 99.9% chance you're not gonna get a heart attack, you're not gonna get cancer, you're not gonna get diabetes. Go check it out on Google and you'll be blown away. There's just so much evidence out there, guys. There's so much evidence out there pointing to animals causing early death in humans and eating plant foods to living a long, healthy, happy, fulfilling life. Animal products are acidic, animal products are high in cholesterol, and animal products are not satisfying at all. You don't get satisfied when you eat a big piece of steak, people gotta put tomato sauce on it, they need that sugar on it. Why not just have a big bowl of tomatoes? Why not just have a big bowl of fruit? Why not just have a big bowl of sugary fruit smoothie? Makes way more sense to satisfy your hunger with healthy foods rather than eating a bunch of unhealthy foods in the name of protein, in the name of tradition, in the name of culture. Do you know it makes no sense to eat meat because it's a cultural thing? Because there's so many other foods in that culture that aren't meat-based. You know, people say like, oh, it's traditional to have pork because we're in this country, pork and rice. Well, then that means it's also traditional to have rice in that country. So why not just eat the rice and forget the pork? Rice is actually gonna satisfy you. There's some carbohydrates in there. Pork doesn't satisfy you. The only reason you're eating the pork is because everyone else is eating the pork. I promise you, if everyone else around you stopped eating meat, you would too. You're only eating meat because everyone else around you is eating meat too. I went to Thailand. I spent 2 years in Thailand. I didn't wear a seatbelt. I thought we wore seatbelts to be safe. I had a seatbelt beside me the whole time. I could have put it on, but I didn't. Why didn't I wear a seatbelt? Because no one else was. We don't wear seatbelts to be safe. We wear seatbelts because everyone else around us is. Plus, it's the law. You might get arrested or something. But even if they made it a law that says, hey, you go to jail if you eat meat, people would still find a way to eat meat if everyone else around them was eating meat. You know, like pot smokers. There's a lot of pot smokers who, you know, they live in countries where smoking weed is legal, but they find a way to get it because all their friends are smoking weed too. But if you hang around people who don't smoke weed and you're the only pot smoker, you're gonna quit very, very shortly. So if you're a non-vegan living around a bunch of vegans, you're gonna become vegan very, very quickly. If you're the only meat eater around hundreds of plant-based people, you're gonna become plant-based very, very quickly. But the alternative is not true. When you're the vegan and you're around a bunch of meat eaters, you're not gonna start eating meat because you know in your heart of hearts that's not right. You know in your heart of hearts that eating animals is akin to supporting animal cruelty. Eating meat is akin to supporting the Holocaust. It is actually a Holocaust going on right now. Animals in the slaughterhouses getting slaughtered. So instead of allowing your mind to focus on all the horrors of the slaughterhouses, focus on the benefits, focus on the joys, focus on the freedom that comes from eating a plant-based diet. So what are some alternatives to eating meat? There are so many alternatives, man. There's more vegan alternatives than there are meat options. Way more vegan alternatives than there are meat options. So if you want to be healthy, if you want to be happy, if you want to be more fulfilled, check out these plant-based alternatives. And since there's a million alternatives, I'm just going to give you a few staples to focus on, a few staples to work with in your transition. Staple number 1 would be something like cooked carrots, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, yams, beans, legumes, quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat, and tons of fruit. That's right, fresh, raw, living fruit. And when I say fresh fruits, I mean things like avocados, cantaloupe, watermelon, bananas, dates, raisins, apricots, nectarines, peaches, whatever fresh fruit you can get. Papayas and mangoes are also fantastic as well. That's what I focus primarily on. I love to focus on the fruit because when you focus on the fruit, you fill up on the really, really, really healthy stuff, and then whatever hunger is left over at the end of the day, maybe you can just have a big salad. But the benefits of consuming plant-based alternatives is that they're actually alkalizing for the body, they're regenerating for the body, they're going to lower your inflammation, they're going to give your body all the vitamins it needs, they're going to give your body all the minerals it needs. Way more vitamins, way more minerals in plant-based foods than there are in dead animals. When you're eating dead animals, you're getting a bunch of cholesterol and you're getting some protein. But your body doesn't even want protein, your body wants amino acids, because when it takes in amino acids, like from the yams, the sweet potato, or the quinoa, or the fresh fruit and vegetables, when your body takes in those amino acids, it can convert it into its own protein very quickly. takes the amino acids, converts it. Whereas if you consume animal protein, your body has to break down that protein first, then uptake it into amino acids, then convert that into its own protein. That's a pain in the ass, man. So cut out the middleman, cut out protein, and just go directly to the source, amino acids. Your body is gonna love you for it. So that's it, guys. Those are the top 5 foods that you want to avoid if you want to live a long, healthy, happy, fulfilling life. Personally, like I said, I like to just focus on the fruit, but if you want to transition to a vegan diet, then just please avoid those 5 foods, consume any other foods but those 5 foods, and you're going to be well on your way. Hope to see you back on this channel in the future. I'm going to be making videos for a lifetime, so peace out. Thanks for watching. Much love from Hawaii. But honestly and literally, fruit. Don't need to be crazy about it. Just buy a whole bunch of it, keep it in your house, stock it up, make sure you got some in the fridge, some in your freezer, some in your cupboard, some in your shelf, fresh stuff, dried stuff, frozen stuff. Get a mixture of it. It's not hard to do, and it tastes so amazing. Have a good day. Peace out. Shotgun.